And speaking of how people should be presented, so let me get this straight. Renee Moxley Good was in the back with Lance Archer and Jake Roberts, who we have not seen. We've seen Lance Archer in the last year, I guess, right? A time or two. Have we seen Jake Roberts with him in 2 years?
No, we saw Lance Archer pop up randomly. I think had a couple matches, no Jake. We heard Jake renewed his contract, and then we never saw Jake again. But it seems now he's a player.
There they are, and Don Fallis walks in and does the promo for him, and they've concluded a talent exchange, and Lance Archer is now a member of Don's family. And they walk off, and Renee asks who Jake got, and Jake won't say who Jake got.
Or what he's got.
Don could have just come out and signed Lance Archer, and nobody would have given a shit because it's been so long since we have seen them together.
Well, obviously, based on what happened later in the show, they're using this as a chance for Jake to elevate a group of young wrestlers that they see a lot in.
Are you fucking... Well, wait till you hear who that group is, folks. More on that in a minute. And by the way, the announcers for the show were Sockface, Tony Schiavone, and Jeff Jarrett because Taz had knee surgery and is part of the...
The Mets are on again against AEW. That's what it is.
Well, I think he, probably said, hey, it might be a good time now for me to get some body parts replaced so I don't have to be on this show because it's getting stinky, but we don't doubt the legitimacy of his surgery. But this
is Vince McMahon wearing a neck brace to court. The Mets are in the playoffs. He wants to stay home. I'll get my knee surgery now.
Well, if it was eyeball surgery, then that would shoot your theory straight to hell because he wouldn't be able to watch. But since it's knee surgery, he doesn't need to be able to walk to watch baseball. So you might have something. But you know what they didn't have, Brian?
An audience.
No, any common fucking sense, because the next match was the long-awaited showdown between Hologram and Komander. And I wrote at this point so they know that nobody's going to watch this show. And they're just trying to fill the time.
Can I stop you right there?
Yes, and then I'll go on.
AEW's had an issue getting new people in the door. That really hasn't happened. Retaining the audience they have throughout a show. And in this case, maybe even announcing that the show would be on another night efficiently enough that people knew. If you knew you're on a different night, a different time slot, up against strong competition, the playoffs, and of course NXT, and it's the go-home show for your pay-per-view, do you put stuff that doesn't matter on the show because you're out of your normal time slot? Or do you try to load it up with stuff for the pay-per-view even though you're out of your normal time slot?
And there can be a third option because I have never, any TV that I ever wrote or helped write or whatever, you never want to just do TV that doesn't matter. And there's got to be something that you can do to justify putting something on that will help an individual talent or build something for later or whatever. But at the same time, if you know that because of circumstances beyond your control, a switch in time or preemptions on many stations or a switch in day, whatever, that your audience is going to be down, you don't turn on Dusty on that show. You don't do the big goddamn angle on that show, but you still, because you're going to be back in your regular time the next week, and you can do stuff in this program that you can show back the highlights of the next week, or now you can put on YouTube, or you can put out on social media. So there's not a reason to totally just give up and, you've jumped overboard, just take a big breath and go with it, right? Try to swim and tread water at least until you get back in the boat, and then you can make some progress. And to put Hologram against Komander on what is allegedly your flagship show, even though it's on a different night and time, who the fuck, the smallest group of AEW fans would give a shit that these two guys that nobody cares about, nobody even knows what they fucking look like, are going to have a lucha match and do a bunch of fucking cartwheels. Except for Tony, because hologram is his gimmick idea. But, so, if you're on a new night, then you might accidentally get some new eyeballs on the show, and maybe they might see something. But when anybody looks at perception, and as Vince McMahon used to say, perception is reality. If you're looking at the difference in the two wrestling programs or wrestling companies, whether WWE and or AEW, and NXT had some crummy looking people on it too, but when you tune into this show with an empty building, the arena's so dark you can see lightning bugs flying around. And they're doing cover pitches with the announcer shooting the ceiling because they can't pan a crowd that ain't there. And they've got two guys in the ring that look like children in Halloween masks doing stuff they worked out on their trampoline. It just looks fucking low rent, low budget, low class, low secondary. Does that make any sense to you?
It does, and even for the people that I think will just look at what you say and think you're being too harsh, I think even if you're a fan of these two guys and their style, you need to be able to recognize how low rent it looks. And also, I mean, just when I say it, both of their looks, but they're both tiny. They're tiny. God, what are they, 5'7" at the most? At the most. And they're skinny. They're really skinny. And they're just doing moves to each other for no reason. There is a fan base for this stuff, but they don't watch TV. And they didn't watch for this. Not to play spoiler.
I don't know that anybody's going to be shocked by that spoiler, but basically after a long time where Tony was, I'm sure, watching with bated breath on the monitor in the back, Hologram won because he apparently also has the longest active winning streak in AEW. I think I saw that graphic. Because
and it's his Dynamite debut.
Basically, Tony's got a new pockets. It's a new little pet thing because he thinks the gimmick is great for his internet friends. But then...
Well, it's his gimmick. That's the other thing. Pockets wasn't something he invented. This is something he invented.
Oh, he wishes he had invented pockets, though. It's that childish. But nevertheless, then here comes Jake Roberts out to the stage, to the entranceway, and he stood there and watched Rush and Rigor Mortis and another Mexican fellow jump both of these guys and clear the ring out. And the announcers sort of worked out verbally on their own that now Jake is their manager. That's the LaFuckers and Goobers group, right? Is that what they call themselves?
Well, Roosh was. Were the other two in that? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Were they ever managed by Don Callis?
No, that's another thing. Is that said it was a talent exchange?
Yeah.
But so anyway, now Jake Roberts is the manager of 3 random luchadors, because Jake is noted for being a master of that style. And the fans are just sitting there going, what the fuck is this going on? And Jake didn't even walk to the ring. He may not have had a long enough tube on his oxygen tank. But that's... okay. Anyway, is that enough on Hologram and Komander?
I mean, that's enough on the match. I'm intrigued by the idea of Jake Roberts managing a team he's going to tower over. Roosh, the Beast Mortis, and Drolistico. Whose idea was this and why?
Well, I think so Jake can teach him psychology as soon as he learns Spanish.
Let's get Jake Roberts when he is the hardest to listen to that he's ever been. And have him do promos for the Latino wrestlers who can't do promos.
But he didn't do a promo. He didn't even fucking speak. Don Callis did most of the promo earlier, so he's gonna. I think it's a coaching type of thing where as soon as Jake learns Spanish so he can communicate with these guys, and as long as he brings his oxygen so he's got enough voice to tell them the things that they're going to ignore, then he'll be able to teach them something.
I'm so intrigued by the idea behind this. It'll be a talent swap. Oh, is Jake going to manage Takeshita? That's interesting. Okay. Or Fletcher? I don't really see it. No. He's managing 3 guys Don Callis has never managed before. It makes no sense.
What about Hobbs? What did they do to him? Did they goddamn remove his fucking kidneys or something? What kind of injury could he have had?
Did you hear the rumor with Ray Phoenix? Because we heard that Ray Phoenix and Penta were going to sign with WWE, the Lucha Brothers. The story is, or at least people are thinking it, that because he was injured so often, Tony's going to extend his contract to prevent him from being able to sign with WWE.
Yes.
Fair game or any problem with that?
Well, no, at the money that he's paying a lot of these guys and they're off for months at a time, and he's still paying them. Goddamn, if you sign for 3 years, work for me for 3 fucking years. Don't work for me for a year and a half over a 3-year period. I think that's perfectly fair. Now, if you're fucking with a guy over 2 months or something, then that's a little dodgy. But anyway.
Well, Jim, Jake Roberts didn't have too much to say. He kind of just did a thumbs up or whatever the hell he did from the stage. Jake Roberts, known for his Fonzie mannerisms. Perhaps he just woke up. Perhaps Jake had a good night's sleep.
Well, he did look like he was still in the land of somnambulism. He did look like he had a little crustiness around his eyes, or maybe it was his nostrils. But I'll tell you what, you won't have anything crusty on your Helix Sleep mattress, folks, because they come to you in a box brand new. And we have been talking about our friends at Helix for so long now. Everybody in the cult of Cornette, most of them, I should say, are right now laying on, sitting on, eating on, or getting down on a Helix mattress because they'll stand up to any kind of wear and tear, even if you're corpulently fat or even if you're bony and skinny and you've got sharp elbows and knees and collarbones that make holes in normal mattresses. The Helix mattress will hold up underneath your abnormal geometry and skeletal figuring. Geometry, it should be geology. Or maybe it's biology. Well, nevertheless, if you'd like to go through many of the bodily habits that you normally do every day, there's no place better than on a Helix mattress. Brian, I think you can agree that, well, the Helix, whether it's the Helix for kids or the Helix for fat people, or the Helix for people who like to sleep on their face, or the Helix for people who sweat profusely or ones who shiver, shaking like a dog shitting peach seeds.
Just Helix for everyone. And yes, we have a few in the house. We love them. And some of the listeners just recently on Twitter sending photos of their Helix Sleep mattress boxes arriving.
Yes, and then later on, I think you should send photos of your wife or girlfriend laying on the Helix Sleep mattress so that we know that they're being put to good use and potentially in a variety of negligees or lingerie.
Spread eagle.
Well, what you do with birds is your own business, but I will tell you that the bald eagle is a protected species, and I think that means that you can't have carnal knowledge either. But folks, whether you got night sweats because you're feeling guilty about something or you're afraid somebody's going to catch you, well, these mattresses will cool you down. They'll make your conscience feel better. And if you got back pain, they'll slide you one of these stiff ones where your spine will be aligned and your liver won't quiver, and all the other variety of the deluxe collection or the elite collection or whatever. All you do is go to helixsleep.com and you take the little quiz, how you like to sleep, who you like to sleep with, give them the phone numbers of the people that are most likely to agree to sleep with you, And then they'll send you the mattress. Now, you had to do that too, Brian. You had to go through your whole little black book and give them all those numbers.
You don't have to do that. I didn't have to do that. You won't have to do that. But you will have to get a good night's sleep with Helix Sleep.
Yes, and then your mattress comes in a box, and you just open it up, and it goes poof right onto the mattress or the bed frame there, and then you fall into a cloud of comfort. And if you go to helixsleep.com/JCE, you got to use that code. Then you're going to get 20% off all mattress orders in the month of October. 20% off all the mattress orders at helixsleep.com/JCE. And then when you finish your dinner and you finish feeding the dog and you finish putting the garbage out and you're ready to turn in for the night and the sun has dropped below the horizon, then you'll lay your head down on this beautiful Helix, your whole body actually. You can use the whole thing. You paid for it. And you'll lay that body down and you'll go to sleep and good night, 'cause my Helix is right. I'm so comfy I could shit. Boy, Helix is really it.
Once again, helixsleep.com/JCE.
Yes.
Great mattresses. You don't need the shit. You just need to sit or lay. And let's lay our way onto the rest of Dynamite. Helix Sleep, though, a wonderful mattress.
Yes, yes.